Hello guys and welcome to Thellex Academy. Today we'll be looking into Babel and Webpack in JavaScript. Now what's Babel? We say Babel is a JavaScript compiler. What does it do? It actually converts ES6 plus code like ES6, 6, 7, 8 and all to what ES6, ES5 for what older browser compatibility. Now when we talk about the ESC, you say it's what ECMAScript, right? So the thing is that there has been there have been different updates on JavaScript, like things like adding like arrow function, and some other new different updates and the rest. So each one of these guys now, like some browser don't actually accept it. Why? Maybe because they haven't actually like make an update to like their JavaScript engine on their browser. So like if you're trying to like use these new codes and all, it might not actually work. So that's when this Babel and Webpack actually what comes in. Now Babel actually does something. It actually like converts it to what to the old any new code you're actually writing for you to actually work on your browser now. It doesn't care how you write it. It doesn't care what you have written already, right? It doesn't care which new functions or which thing you use. Now the thing is that it actually just converts everything you have done now. It's converted into what to the old JavaScript, which is what ES5. So for all these other browsers that have not actually gone through an update or something, for them to be able to like for your code to actually what run on it. Now it also ensures that your code runs on what on old browsers and what and old environments. Now why you use Babel? We say what to ensure that our code works across what every single what browser. Now it also allows us to what use the latest version of latest JavaScript what features. Now look at it this way. This is the JavaScript, right? Now look at this is browser X and this is browser Y. This browser X is just in the sense that this is like a browser that they have updated the JavaScript engine. But now this is a browser that has not actually what updated its JavaScript engine. Now what happens? Now any new JavaScript feature you're actually using now won't actually what work on this old one, but it's going to actually what work on what on this one whereby they already updated what the JavaScript engine and all. So I say this now with Babel now I can actually what write code in what in JavaScript. I can write like new features and all. Then with Babel I just convert it to what old what syntax whereby it actually was supported in every type of browser, both one that has been updated and one that what has not what been updated. So when we're using Babel now, we're making sure that our code actually works well in every single environment. So let's continue. Now key features in this Babel now, we have the transpiling, that's like the compiling and all. Now it's actually what convert modern JS to what older versions. Now we have the polifying, which actually what adds missing features for what older what environment. Now the Babel workflow, how does it work? We say we write what modern JavaScript, then we say what the Babel actually what transpiles the code, meaning that what it compiles the code, then it gives out the output in what ES5, right? And in ECMAScript 5, in the it outputs it as ES5 compatible code, whereby it converts the current one we're using, whether you're using ES6, 7, 8 or something, it actually converts it back to what ES5 compatible what code. Now to work with Babel now, what's the first thing to do? We say what the Babel configuration. Now we create a what dot Babel rc file. Now this is a JSON file used to what configure what Babel option and what preset. Now inside you just see what we say here. We say what preset, then we say what at Babel preset or what env like environment. Now if I'm imagining I was using like React or something, the same thing, I'll just say slash preset then hyphen, I'll say what React. Now to install Babel CLI and core, you say what npm install save dev at what at Babel core at Babel what CLI. Now for the presets and plugin now, you say what the preset is what is collection of what of plugins for the what for the Babel, and the plugin now specifies what is a specific code transformation, e.g. like an arrow function. Now to to do this now, to install the preset now, we say npm install save dev at babel call cli, then we say at babel what slash preset of what env. Now to actually what transpile the code now like compile the code, we say what npx babel what src, then out as what dir, then lib. I'll show you how this actually works all together. Now the next part we'll look into now is Webpack. Now what's Webpack? The Webpack is just what the module bundler for what for JavaScript application. Now what does it do? It actually what bundles multiple what files into what a single file. It actually what also what handles dependencies and what as an asset, e.g. what css and what css and its what image. But now what's the purpose of this Webpack itself? We say what it actually what bundles JavaScript files for usage in what in a browser, and can transform what it can transform or bundle many other assets like what HTML, CSS, and what an image. So the Webpack basically it's actually what bundles different files from our JavaScript to our HTML file to our CSS file to what and to our assets like image and all. It actually bundles every one of them into what a single file. Now why do we use Webpack? We say what it actually what simplifies dependency management. It actually what improve performance with what code splitting, and it actually what does it what again it actually what enables what advanced features like what odd module what replacement. Now to set up our Webpack, now the first thing we need to do, we need to install Webpack and Webpack what CLI. So we say npm install save dev, then we say what Webpack what CLI. Now the next thing is what to create a webpack.config.js file. Now when we do this, now we have this inside, we create something like const part equal to require part, then module.export, then the rest. Now the next thing now we say we have Webpack and Webpack loaders and what plugin. So what are loaders? We say loaders actually what transform files before what bundling, e.g. a Babel what loader. Then we have the plugins now. It actually what extend Webpack what capabilities, e.g. HTML Webpack what plugin. An example of configuration for Babel loader, we say module rules, then we say inside we have test, then we actually do this exclude node modules, then we use what loader as what Babel loader. Okay, so now the next part we have now, we say integrating Babel with what Webpack. Now the first thing we say what we install Babel loader, then inside we just say npm install save dev Babel loader. Then the next thing we update our Webpack config to actually we'll use what Babel loader. So we change this loader to what Babel loader. Here we didn't actually add it here from the beginning, but here now we actually adding it. We are adding what the Babel loader to what to our Webpack config. So let's actually like work with something here. Let's actually see how this whole stuff actually works. So let's begin, guys. So let's create a folder. Now let's call it let's say what can we call it? Let's call it ES update. Abi? Okay, so let's open on VS Code and start work. Now the first thing for us to do now, I want us to go to our terminal, right? But I'm having issues with my terminal on VS Code, so I'll be using an external terminal. I'll be using my inbuilt terminal in my computer. So open terminal. Sorry. Load. Okay, so let's start. I'm in that folder already, right? Now the first thing for me to do now is to initialize the project for you to actually create a package.json file for me. So I'll just say npm. So before we even start anything, I hope you guys have Node installed on your system, because if you don't have Node, we'll be having issues when we're trying to like install some packages and all. So we need to install Node, and now to install Node, you just come here and say Node sorry, my internet is slow. Sorry, not this. Node. Now you just come here and say download and install Node. Now you will just come here and pick the pre-built installer. Now you can go for Windows or any environment you're actually using. So once you have that ready, installed and all, then you can actually continue what we're doing. But without that Node, you won't actually be able to do anything. Nothing will actually work. So now I'm saying npm init, then hyphen what y. Now this guy actually does what? Actually what? Initialize our project and creates what? A package.json file for us. So let me come back here. Doesn't load. My internet is slow, sorry. Now it does this already. It creates this file for me. Now if I come back to this, as you can see, I'm having this guy there already, a package.json file. So the next thing for me to do now is to actually install other dependencies. Now the dependency I want to install now, say npm install. Now remember, so we'll be installing dependencies such as this CLI, the core, installing the plugins, we'll be installing the Babel loader. We'll also be installing the Webpack CLI also. Now let's begin. So I say npm install hyphen save hyphen dev at Babel, right? At Babel / core space at Babel / CLI, right? I'm installing the core, the CLI, then I say at Babel / what? Presets hyphen what? env, right? So then the next thing I'm adding is what? The Babel loader. So I say Babel hyphen loader webpack then hyphen CLI. So this way, right? So I click on install, enter. So like this, now is installing every one of this stuff now, from the core to the CLI to the preset env and the Babel loader and the Webpack CLI also, actually installing all this configuration for me. Now, and remember I said without Node, none of this will actually work. So I want you guys to actually install Node before you even begin this stuff at all. So let's watch it as it does this. My internet connection is bad. This would have actually been faster and the rest. Yeah, so here we have it, guys. Every one of the stuff we need has actually what been installed. So we come back here, we'll actually what be seeing this our node modules, then what we have installed already. So let's go back to our terminal and do the next thing. Now, like this, now the first thing we did now was to what actually what install the configuration files that we actually need. Now we'll actually what create some configuration file manually by ourselves. One of the configuration file we're going to create is the Babel configuration file, right? I showed you in the slide whereby we're talking about the .babel rc, and we'll also be creating the web configuration file, webpack configuration file, where we say webpack.config.js. So let's create the first one, the Babel configuration file. So I will just say this, though you can say it in your let's see, I could say babel dot babel rc. Now you see the moment I do this, now it's showing me the Babel icon. Now I create a JSON and say this presets, right? Then inside I say at babel slash preset hyphen what env, right? So the next thing now is what the webpack dot config dot json. No, I made a mistake somewhere. Webpack dot config, dot js instead of json, dot js. So I say this. Now the next thing I'll say, now I say const parts equal to what require. So const parts equal to what require, right? So I say path require what require path. So then I say module dot export is equal to, now the first thing I say now is what entry of what dot src, right? So this is where I'm going to create my JavaScript file that I actually want to convert. So src, then I say index dot js, right? Now I say this output, right? The output now, and I'll say this file name should be what bundle bundle.js. I can actually give it any name of your choice. You could say anything you want, but I'm just using bundle because eventually, like, I want the webpack to actually put everything together for me. So I just felt the name I should give is just bundle. So, and I'll say this parts as parts dot resolve hyphen dir name or dist. So basically I'm saying this my bundle.js will be inside this my dist. So come on. So the next thing for me to now say is this module module. Then here I say rules hyphen, right? Now in there, let's say, let me just complete it before I close. So I just say this. So I say tests, then slash dot m, right, js $, slash exclude slash bracket node underscore modules browser underscore components. Then we put a closing slash at the end, right? So comma. Now the next thing says use, then I say loader, right, the Babel loader. So I say Babel hyphen what, loader, this way, right? So the next thing for me to do now is to actually do this. Actually need to like create a file that actually write all these new features and all into. So let's say I create a let's create a folder according to what we said here, right? Our entry point to an src folder, then inside we have what, an index.js. So I'll say this src, then inside it now I could create a file and call it what, index.js. Now in this place now, let's try to like use new features and all. Let's start with arrow function. So I could say const greet equal to name, right, then equal to lambda expression, then I say console.log, then I say, let's say hello, comma, then our $sign of what, name, right? So now let's see this, an arrow function. Now let's use the template literals. So I could say const user equal to this. I could just say first name as, let's say Faisal, right, last name equal to Ali. So I could say like age, then let's put like 30, right, and all. So this is the template, what, literal. Now the next one we could actually check out again, the structuring assignments, or you could just call it structuring. So I just say const this, and I just say const, let's say first name, right? So not meant to be like this. I don't like creating this way, so I change this one also. I prefer using this camel casing. I know. So first name, last name, okay, and let's say age, right? Then I say this equal to what, user, right? This is the what, the structuring. Now I say console.log of what? User. So I could just say user info, then I just say $sign, then I can put what? First name, right? Another $sign, I can put what? Last name, another $sign, then I can put what? The age, right? So this is how the destruction actually works. Now the next one we're checking out is the spread operator. So I could say const new user, right? I could say equal to this. Now you'll say dot user, right? So I could now say email hyphen this. I could just say let's say mail at mailer.com. So I could just come here and say console.log, right? Console.log new user, right? Okay, let's just make this type that new user. Then I could say comma, then let's say the variable of what? New user, right? So this is the what? This is the spread operator. Now the next one we'll check out again is the what? The default parameters. So I could say const display info, right? Equal to let's say name. Name is equal to, let's say, guests, right? Then I could say country is actually equal to unknown, right? So and I'll say this console.log of this, then I say name, then I could say is from where, the $sign, then I put what? Country, right? This way. So the next thing for us to do now is just to call out those functions, like give some function calls. Now the first one I'll be working on is the greet, right? The greet function there. So I will just say, let's say greet Faisal. So basically we're saying what? Hello Faisal. Now the next thing I'm saying here now is display info, right? Now what does this guy do? I just activate the function here, then I say display info, right? Then I say this Faisal, then comma from what? Nigeria. Now this first display info, I'm just asking first display what is here. You know, we have our parameters already and we already have argument assigned to it here. So now the next part for us to do now is to actually what? Create our this file for our HTML. So remember, from this our webpack now, our entry point was what? This index, right? So let's come back here now for us to be able to like view things and all. Now I could now say this, let's create a folder and call it this. Now here I can now say index dot what? HTML. Now let's just create a simple thing. We could say h4, or let's say, let me remove this, h1, a demo on Babel and Webpack, right? So I can now say this script src. Now the source now won't be this index.js, remember? So actually what has been converted and being bundled together into a single file, which is what the bundle.what.js. Now remember, it's going to be from what the dist, so automatically this guy will be created. So and I come back here now. Now the next thing for us to now do now is to actually build the project. So coming back to our terminal now, we'll run a code that will say npx what, we'll say npx webpack, right? So I'll now do this. What I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to like run the webpack to actually what bundle what my JavaScript code. So I'm saying npx webpack, then I'm saying hyphen, then I say config, right? Config webpack, right? Then dot config dot what dot js. Now it's configuring what the whole stuff itself. Now let's run it. Loading. So everything is done. Now I've come back to our VS Code now. As you can see, we're having a file called what bundle.js. Now inside it now you can see like different stuff. Now if you look closely now, you can see like part of the things I wrote in this now, yeah, has been actually what brought here. If you look at this, you can see like the first name Faisal, last name, age, right? You can see every one of these guys, the email I created here when I was doing this, when I was doing my new user and all. Every single one of these guys have what been converted and what brought here. Everything has been compiled. So let's run it now. So I could say open with live server. Now open with live server, let's say Control Shift I. Reload. Oh, it's not working, my mistake, sorry guys. So coming back here now, I forgot to add this bundle.what.js, right? So let's come back. Now as you can see, the very first thing it shows to us what is the user what info, right? User info as what Faisal Ali as what and 30. Then I say this, the new user Faisal Ali 30, then his email is what mail@com, right? Fully. Now I'm now saying like the greet, I'm saying hello what Faisal, then the display info guess is what from unknown, and the last thing I did there was what add new argument into it saying Faisal is from what Nigeria. So I hope this video actually help you to understand Babel and Webpack better. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more great content. Thank you very much.